Have you ever seen an event plan that looked perfect on paper, but it falls apart when the event is actually happening? It's a lot like watching a house being built. They've got the perfect blueprint for the house. They've got the lumber, they've got the foundation, they've got the bricks. But when you watch them put the bricks in, imagine that there's no mortar, there's no cement that's holding those bricks together, and they're just stacking the bricks on top of each other. I live in Kansas, and if a tornado or strong gusty winds come along, it's going to cause those bricks to fall down, and then the house is vulnerable. That's the same thing that happens at an event. You have to have the right quality of bricks, and you need a high quality mortar that's going to hold those bricks together and is going to flex. If you've ever been to a large city with high skyscrapers, you know that those skyscrapers are built with the ability to flex with the winds, with the shifting of the earth. If they don't do that, that skyscraper is going to fall down. The same way, when people are building a brick wall, they have to build flex into those bricks. And so they have to use the right ingredients in building the bricks and the mortar that allows the flex. And more so if you live in a place with earthquakes like California. I live in Kansas again. We had earthquakes a few years ago, and we're not used to earthquakes. And so there's a lot of homes that had their foundations and their bricks start to crack because we were getting all of these earthquakes as a result of fracking, or at least that's the theory. Well, when it comes to events, we need to think carefully not only about the bricks, and the bricks mean we need great keynotes, we need great sessions, we need great networking parties, we need great things happening that when people look at the agenda, the things that they see on the agenda, those are the bricks. The mortar are the hidden things that connect it all together. And that can include your MCs. Your MCs are people who they're there to weave the event together, to sew one brick next to another, to put that concrete in there so that people see the connectedness and it's not a bunch of disjointed bricks that with a slight bit of wind or someone leaves, it doesn't make sense anymore. But it's not just the MCs, it's your staff, the customer service that you provide in the hallways. They can help create that sense of connectedness. But just like with mortar, if you don't add enough water to the mortar, it's going to become flaky and it's going to fall apart over time. And then again, those bricks are vulnerable. Water at events is communication. Communication happens so many different ways. It happens through your emails. It happens through, if you have an event app, it happens in your online community, whether that's a Facebook group or something else. It happens when you're on site. You might have printed communication. You might have signage. It's coming through people. It's coming through your slides that people can see. There's so many ways that we can communicate, but are we thinking through how do we get this information to people in a way that they're going to receive it, internalize it, and use it during the event? If we don't have enough communication, the bricks, the event is vulnerable. People will feel lost or left out. I was doing an experiment on stage last year, and I was demonstrating how building an event is a lot like baking bread. And I accidentally read the recipe wrong, and I didn't have enough water when I was mixing the flour, the yeast, the salt, and the water. Those are the four primary ingredients in bread. There's a lot more ingredients that make it good, but those are the four essential things that you need. Well, you can imagine when I started mixing it together and there wasn't enough water, some of the dough was really well mixed, and some of it, the flour never got folded in. And that happens so often at events. We aren't thinking through carefully the mortar. We aren't thinking through our plan and the communication. Are we including everybody? Are we speaking to the people in the way that they want to? Are we just assuming that, hey, they've been reading all the emails that we've been sending for the last 2 months? They saw that email where we told them everything they need to know. They saw the post that we put in the Facebook group. They're looking at the app. They're looking at the guide that we printed. Well, what if they don't? What if they only see one of those things or happenstance, or they're the kind of person who they experience events by shooting from the hip, or they just happen to see some of the communication, but not all of it? What are your plans? How are you helping people feel connected? I would argue that your number one ingredient in your mortar needs to be communication, thinking through it carefully. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat here right now. I would love to hear from you. If you agree with me that that is where it's at, that's where the mortar is sometimes missing and the wall, so to speak, of our event starts to fall down because we don't have good mortar holding it together. I'm Filmer Sean. I am director of experience and I'm the founder of Unforgettable Experiences. And I would love to hear from you and connect with you. Have a great day.